Yo guys, how's it going? Welcome back to the channel. So in today's video, we're going to be playing Hellblade 2 on PC, running with my overclock MSI Vanguard RTX 5090 graphics card, and Ryzen 9 9950X 3D CPU. So they just recently released a patch this morning, which adds a very high graphics preset, but first let's start off by showing you the graphics settings we're currently running. So currently we are running a render resolution of 3840 by 2160 on my 4K 144Hz display. NVIDIA DLA super resolution mode with HDR. You may have to wait 2 or 3 days for the HDR to process on YouTube. Variable white shading is off. And now the global preset you could change to very high. Prior it was only maxed out at high, so now we have a few settings here which have a very high preset, which includes post-processing quality, shadow quality, volumetrics, and view distance. So that's the new graphics options. And there's also a developer commentary, which I do have enabled, which is why I have it paused right now. So I'm going to go ahead and record some gameplay at 4K native. Then I'll start changing resolutions, and we'll see how this developer commentary
Is
runs.
if you know the
Enjoy, I'll be
solution,
quiet for now.
how how can you really have a sort of unbiased approach to knowing if it's you're hitting that difficulty right? Is it just a case of testing with lots of people?
On the difficulty side of things. Yeah, we definitely, the concept for this puzzle is very abstract because you're effectively almost playing co-op with a future version of yourself, but also a past version of yourself. We really wanted to reinforce that sort of cyclical, repetitive nature of time and Senua's perception of time. So obviously, in abstract, that sounds quite simple, but to translate it to the experience was a challenge, but also in terms of difficulty, making sure that it's understandable. We're very from very early on, we knew that we wanted to start and end this puzzle from different perspectives. So we start seeing the clone in the distance making their way out of this valley. And then at the end, the player is making their way out of the valley as a shadow makes their way into the valley. So just sort of creating that sense of a cycle that keeps repeating itself. And I guess we talked about reflections, but also what else did we talk about? Was reflections, mirrors, echoes.
I think as well, like it's that thing from an outsider's perspective, looking down on Senua, like you basically observing her, almost kind of doing her own personal ritual in a way. It clearly means something very important to her, but objectively, like she might not be doing anything that makes that much sense.
Yeah.
Which is, very key for the whole game, I think. With regards to iteration as well, like you always find when designing puzzles, the designer that designed it will know exactly how it works in their head, and then you give it to someone else, and immediately they're like, "Oh, I don't know what to do." So yeah, you just have to iterate on the feedback. So whether that's the radius of the light, making sure the player knows what that light is affecting, or giving a clear exit, so putting extra highlights where the player needs to go, what is their ultimate goal, that kind of thing. And yeah, you just have to play test that stuff. You have to kind of give it to people to see if they can understand it. And it's a really difficult balance, I think, because
Yeah.
you can over explain it, and then that's also no fun for people.
Yeah.
Because they're like, well, you've told me the solution. So yes, it's a really hard balance, I think, doing puzzles for games.
But actually having Shadow Senua sort of perform these actions, you could watch her and observe her.
Okay, so 4K native averaging 60 FPS, so it does seem to be a little bit heavier with this very high preset. 1% low at 42, max FPS at 82. So let me go ahead and enable DLSS quality mode, and we'll go ahead and see how that changes all the performance here. So let me go ahead and set this to quality mode.
And
Reset the
then
afterburner. I'll be
mimic,
quiet.
I guess, what she's doing ahead of you. So that was also sort of a useful tool to just sort of explain to players what was happening, because it's all very conceptually abstract in a way.
Yeah, puzzles in the Hellblade series are kind of a bit less mechanically understandable, I guess. Like, and as you said, like, we're trying to explain quite abstract thoughts. So yeah, lots of iteration.
But yeah, pretty cool commentary. I do appreciate the extra insight on how they develop these levels and puzzle solving techniques. So it's pretty interesting. So I guess it kind of continues on depending on what scene you're on, and we'll kind of try to add to the commentary when they're not talking. But so far, pretty cool feature.
She has to find what is hidden. We need to get to the other side. Change the world back. Make it disappear.
But this very high preset does seem to be very much so heavier to run.
Yes, there, a path.
So it does seem to increase the visuals. So I did recently hear they released this on PS5 Pro, so that was why they released this enhanced version. They figured they would update the PS5 Pro version, so they made some updates to the PC version, which is pretty cool. So
There.
so far everything is flowing pretty nicely though.
No one has ever been here before can feel it. Unlike anything you've ever known. She is the first to get to this deep.
Lighting effects are so good in this title, it's just really mind-blowing how detailed the environments are. And this runs so much more better than it did at launch. I remember at launch it was pretty piss poor, which is expected with Unreal Engine.
Not anymore, though.
But now it's a whole lot better experience, as you can see here. So far, I think we're making pretty good progress, though. It's pretty straightforward.
A path is open. So, can she get through now? Can you get through?
What was lost?
Oh, not this voice again.
We are close. Remember what they say. Reward it. Reward it. With what? We haven't passed the test yet. Over there. Where? The cave. Back to the beginning. Now what? No. She has to get over there.
Look at the shadows, so detailed. Am I going back this way? I'm not sure. I think I gotta keep moving forward though, from what I recall. Yeah, I gotta keep moving forward. Okay, so 4K deals its ultimate, averaging 93 FPS versus the lowest thing at 64. Max FPS at 121. So now let me turn off upscaling, so back to DLA mode. And let's lower down the render resolution to 2560 by 1440p. And I think I have to apply that setting. We'll see. I'm assuming that it got applied, but I guess there's no apply button. So yeah, we're at 1440p DLA. So go ahead and continue playing here. See how this runs.
Go. There. A path is open. Can she get through now?
Again, fantastic lighting. It's just so well done. Make sure I didn't miss anything here.
You will find a way out. Trust yourself. Trust your instincts. The way will find you. The path will find you. Watch. You gain what makes you safe. A torch doesn't make you safe. The sword does. A light does as well. Let's go to the cannon.
Okay, so that's blocked off. Can't go anywhere this way. So maybe that was not the right move. Let's backtrack a little bit here.
This is where we need to go. We need to find our path into that cavern.
It's getting dark.
So dark.
We are going into the darkness again. I
No.
don't want to go into the darkness
I
again.
don't want to go into the
No,
darkness either.
no.
Stay
Stay
here.
Stay here in the light.
With eyes to see what might be. You have made your way. Let yourself be guided by us.
This.
So there was a phrase
I'm
that
gonna mute
someone
my
said,
microphone.
and I think it was going something like the beauty in the horror and the horror in the beauty. And I think is something that when you are playing the cave, you can relate to that. Because there are parts that are very dark and with horrible sounds, but there are these particles of light that you did, Mark, that they are very beautiful. And is that opposites almost fighting together? Like, okay, this is feeling really tense, and I'm going through this environment, but at the same time, it's kind of beautiful and serene.
Yeah, the lighting of the cave was an interesting one actually, because in all other levels we had like a directional sunlight sort of casting light on everything. Whereas for this, there was a lot of manual hand placement of lights just to get, that glimpse of something that you're aiming for in the distance. You couldn't just rely on the torchlight. So there was so much iteration, sort of balancing, does the player know where they need to get to whilst retaining that horror in between those places. And yeah, we used
I'm gonna reset the Asperger just one time here, so we got a max FPS spike.
the kind of blue light of the hidden folk to kind of guide the player throughout this area.
Yeah, I think that's it. I think that the cave in itself is a journey of navigating Senua's own mind in a way. So the cave represents her own way of trying to find the hidden fall, which is really scary at moments because they are testing her. She is testing her all the time. Her life is about the test, and this cave is no different. And she's scared of the darkness. Like, she's always been scared of the darkness because of what her father did to her. So there are moments where she loses the light. You ramp up the sounds. You start hearing all these broken voices trying to get to her. There is these creatures in the water. And so she's creating this world because when you don't know something, it's like a journey to the unknown. When you don't know something, but you think you are gonna find, your brain starts to create all that. So that's what we did in the cave. The cave is just a normal cave, but she's projecting that insane universe inside of it.
Yeah.
So it looks like with the fighting scene, the FPS does get higher, but it looks like a 1440p native, averaging 110 FPS, 1% listing at 64, max FPS 138. So now let's very briefly enable DLSS quality mode, and then we'll go down to 1080p native resolution. All right, back
Because
to the
Fargrim
commentary.
has told her that, she is a chosen one in a way. She's projecting all this doubt onto herself and sort of having to explore her inner self to kind of find the truth of things at the end of it.
But I remember, because this particular section of the game went through so much iterations. It never meant to be a horror section. Like, from the beginning, when I was like part of that, kind of seeing like how this level is evolving, I don't think there was ever a mention like, yeah, this is going to be fully horror. Like, it's going to be dark. You're going to see kind of like, you're going to hear scary sounds, or you're going to face some scary monsters. So, was that a kind of like a natural, like organically happened, or was it like?
I think when we we first talked about it, like we definitely wanted to have the claustrophobia. Like, you know, you were just out in chapter 3 and it was quite open and you had, you know, sort of all the beautiful daylight. When you go down into the gap that was left by the lake, we wanted basically to crush Senua's expectations and actually push her back into this really claustrophobic space. I think once we got a few bits of that in level, suddenly it was people were saying, this is quite scary. Like, this is making me feel really uncomfortable. I think we kind of pushed on that a bit more.
It's not only horror, right?
Okay, so 1440p averaging 146 FPS with DLSS quality mode, 1% latency at 103, max FPS at 175. Now let's go back to DLA mode and let's lower down the resolution to 1920 by 1080p.
Like the
Reset the
section that you're
afterburner.
kind of navigating around
The
cave joggers,
yeah,
like you
that's
don't
really-
see anything,
Yeah.
and you're just following the light.
Yeah,
You
yeah.
can hear them around, running around, and you know, like you can feel that presence, but you're just following the light because that's the only thing you can do and you can see. So
Yeah, I think that is the interesting bit. Like you are following something that is outside. Like you have your own idea of what you want to achieve, and you are feeding your own brain with these signs. So basically, she's following all these signs to find a healing for which she finally does. But to do that, she's going deeper and deeper. So I think it gets scary, more scary, more scary. And there is this bit where there is the droid and it gets reddish. And we play a lot with distortion in the sound, almost getting into your head, like, "Ah," and they are saying, I don't remember what they are saying, the voices. I think that like you need to stay in the light, or you need to stay on the path, and if you get out of it, the voices just grow, almost like crushing your brain, which is quite scary. Yeah. It's a very tense section overall.
That was another sort of key decision with the lighting. Like whenever there was a Droga presence, we'd use the red, and that sort of bled in. So yeah, in those sections where you actually fought them, you noticed that after following the blue hidden folk light, when the Drogue attacked, everything turned red, and then sort of you'd had a respite of that going back to the blue and momentary sort of bit of safety, but you knew something was still going to be out there, sort of waiting for you.
Yeah, the added commentary is actually really cool. I do like having the developers take on how they create these scenes and kind of want the storyline and putting hidden folk characters here to really put you in a different world. Really interesting. I like the take though. So 1080p native averaging 134 FPS, 1% latency at 92, max FPS at 161. Now we're going to go back to 4K native and we'll record a little bit more footage here and we'll wrap up the video here. Reset the afterburner. But yeah, the very high preset does seem to be a lot more heavier because now we're not even barely maintaining 60 FPS at 4K native depending on the scene, so it's a very heavier preset. In terms of if I could notice the difference, I'm not sure if I could, but it does probably look a little bit higher fidelity, some texture assets and stuff.
You can't do it.
But look at this scene here, 45 FPS on the 5090 at 4K native.
Protect us. You need that sword. Senua, no. You have to be able to fight. It's all you have. She is ignoring us. Senua, listen to us. Senua,
I'm right now down to 32 FPS.
we are protecting you. What are you going to do now?
Sacrifices must have meaning. She has given away that which makes her strong. A protector. A avenger. The thing she grips tight when darkness overwhelms her.
And those voices are really
What is a warrior without
immersive.
her sword? What is she now? She must forge a new path, defenseless against the dead ones.
For the other droigars, we work with the Monster Factory, which are all metal singers, and a part of Pablo that did one of the acts. In this one, it was us. It was mostly me and a bit Jordan that did the cave drugger.
Nice.
And it was, yeah, we kind of torture our throats quite a lot to get to there, because yeah, it's a lot of rasping, and also it sounds like it's one, you know, it sounds like it's one performance. You just do the thing, but then you need to mix stuff on top of it, because you inspire, you like you know, all this thing, but then you also then layer on top all the, because they struggle. I remember when we did when we did a brief, the main point was that they had to struggle to breathe.
It was the breathing, yeah, because obviously the oxygen
Yeah.
and rotten. So yeah, that.
And it was, yeah, we kind of torture our throats quite a lot to get to there, because yeah, it's a lot of rasping, and also it sounds like it's one, you know, it sounds like it's one performance. You just do the thing, but then you need to mix stuff on top of it, because you inspire, you like you know, all this thing, but then you also then layer on top all the, because they struggle. I remember when we did when we did a brief, the main point was that they had to struggle to breathe.
It was the breathing, yeah, because obviously the oxygen in caves,
yeah,
it can be quite stagnant,
yeah,
and rotten. So yeah, that's.
So we do that. We did a lot of that, and even all the breathing. Like we have kind of cycles of breathing for all the other enemies, but for this one, it's done completely different, because it's all broken up. All the breathing, like they struggle a lot, so it cannot be just a constant cycle of breathing. And it's embedded a lot in their vocal performance. And if you see, every time they attack or they do something, it's always followed up by long struggle to breathe, like try to catch up their breath, because the point is they need to sound a bit pathetic, like, you know, they are just hiding in a cave for probably all their lives, and they need to feel, you need to feel like their life overall is a struggle, even the way they sound.
The music for that section, was it, you've done that part?
No, I don't do music, that's Jimmy.
Yeah, because they've done a really great job just creating that tension and the horror in that section, I think.
I mean, I remember the stealth was not working very well up until
late. We changed it, like I remember that was one of the sections we changed very late in the project, for sure.
We changed it, yes, and the sound, I mean, the sounds did most of it, but that's true for most of horror bits in games or in movies. Like, there is always the rule, try to watch a horror movie without sound, and it's probably comical, not very scary, because
we haven't got the jump. I mean, you haven't got the jump scares or anything.
Yeah, it's not just a jump scare. It's just that sounds. It's different. Something that gets into your subconscious. The sounds did most of it, but that's true for most of horror bits in games or in movies. Like, there is always the rule, try to watch a horror movie without sound, and it's probably comical, not very scary, because
we haven't got the jump. I mean, you haven't got the jump scares or anything.
Yeah, it's not just a jump scare. It's just that sounds. It's different from visual. It's something that gets into your subconscious, and I think that's where you drive fear, and fear overall. And so that's where it shines. It really works well to give you those type of emotions.
And no sound.
No sound, so yeah.
We almost had it, guys. We were almost at the light.
It's not just a jump scare. It's just that sounds. It's different from visual. It's something that gets into your subconscious, and I think that's where you drive fear, and fear overall. And so that's where it shines. It really works well to give you those type of emotions.
And no sound.
No sound
no
too,
sound
yeah.
Is super powerful.
Anyways, guys, we're going to wrap up the video here. I think this is kind of near the end of the chapter here once we reach the light. But if you did enjoy this different take on Hellblade 2 with the very high preset and commentary, let me know. Be happy to make another video with some more commentary if you want to get some more in-depth looks at developers' take on each developing scene and overall designing of the storyline and stuff. So anyway, thanks for watching. I appreciate all the support, and if you want to see more content like this, feel free to subscribe. If you did enjoy the video, do give this video a like, and well, thank you guys as always for the support, and I'll see you
One
guys
of the
around.
key things for
Later guys,
kinda
peace out.
Hellblade
Brings
is
you
we
Hellblade
want
2 on PC on
all
the
of our
1590.
players